Good evening, SRA Nation, and welcome to Season 12.
Today is going to be a new challenge, aside from being sent for. We're racing on the surface of the sun, apparently.
Heading down towards the main start line.
Maximizing that track just behind. That's exactly what we were talking about. That one corner. So critical to your lap time. You have to send it. This is the apex curving there by a little bit.
Everybody's now bunched up, and you do not want that.
We wide now at the intersection one in the spot you really don't want to, but the fight's not over.
Still there on the inside, and the McLaren's still not going to give the place up.
And we're off and away for SRA.
Good evening, SRA Nation, and welcome to round 7 of the Sim Racing Alliance GT3 Team Championship. We are live at Oulton Park, a track famous for its tight corners, rapid elevation changes, and old school racing challenges. I'm Jay Queasy, your host for tonight's coverage, joined by my ever-reliable co-commentator Marlon Abubo, and special guest in the booth for this round, Alexa Marshall. Alexa, welcome aboard.
Thank you very much, and of course, quick fact for you, my home circuit, that's why I'm here, because it is one track to look out for. It's great to be here. It's D6. I'm usually over in D number 1, but I thought I'd hop in for the home circuit, and it's going to be a good one tonight here in the penultimate round.
Yeah, absolutely can't wait. Marlon, let's talk championship. We're down to the wire now. As Alexa said, it's the penultimate round. So what exactly do you think's at stake tonight for the drivers?
Well, there's definitely a lot at stake today. We have a gold title battle on our hands, actually, between some returning drivers and some newer drivers in SRA. with Oulton Park being such a different kind of monster from last week's circuit, what was it again? Mount Panorama. Sorry about that. These drivers need to make sure they keep themselves within the asphalt of this track.
Yeah, 100%. And speaking of the track itself and Alexa's home track, let's go straight in and take a look and get to know Oulton Park a little bit better. So Oulton Park is one of the most iconic race circuits in the UK, and its international layout, which we're racing tonight, is 4.3 kilometres or 2.7 freedom miles of pure driving challenge. 17 corners, blind crests, technical hairpins and narrow sections make every lap a test of skill. And this track is notorious for punishing over mistakes. Gravel traps and grass runoff mean there's no room for our drivers to make an error. So let's go ahead and take a tour of the full circuit. So, as we come out onto the start-finish straight, the very first turn we come up to is Old Hall Corner. This is where the drama starts. A fast right-hander with a tricky downhill exit. Run wide and you're into the barriers, or at least getting a track limits violation. Expect side-by-side action here on lap 1. And as we run further down, we come up to Denton's, which isn't much on paper, just a slight slight right kink, but this is where the drivers set up their next move. Expect aggressive positioning before we go into Cascades. And Cascades, a fast left-hander that demands precision and bravery. Get it right and you carry great momentum into the next session. Get it wrong and you are in the grass. And as we go down Lakeside Straight, the next turn is turn 4, which is Island Bend. Now, Island Bend is where I fell foul last night. I went straight onto the grass, but managed to keep it safe. But Island Bend is one of the fastest corners of the track. A blind left-hander where a car is loaded up all on the edge, and you have to keep your commitment here in order to set yourself up properly for the next turn. And turn 5 is Shell Oil's Hairpin, the tightest turn on the circuit, but one of the best overtaking zones. The high banking helps rotation, and we'll definitely see some late lunges going into this corner. And as you exit it, you're immediately setting yourself up for turn 6, which is Britain's. Britain's is a tight, technical chicane. Any mistakes here, and you'll lose all momentum into the next high-speed run. As we see here, it can be punishing, and this is also where drivers can expect to get a few of those slow punctures if they're hitting those apexes way too hard. As we go up the hilltop, as it's called, which is I suppose the top part of this part of the track. And that sets us up for another overtaking opportunity into Hislops, a chicane that requires sharp direction changes. If a driver gets too greedy on the curbs, they'll unsettle the car. And that leads immediately into one of the more famous corners, Knickerbrook, which is named after an incident involving a couple and some misplaced undergarments, and we'll leave it at that. Turn 10, which is up here, this is Clay Hill. Clay Hill is a flat out and uphill. The section feels light and twitchy, a great place to see who's got confidence in their setup. As we go through Water Tower, which these days is a bit less of a turn for our GT3 cars, but that sets us up perfectly for turn 11, which is Druids. This is a tricky double apex right-hander. The first part lets you think you can late brake into it, but if you get it wrong, you are wide, straight onto that grass there. It's not a fun time. And as we come through Druids now, we get set up for the penultimate corner really, and that is Lodge Corner, another overtaking opportunity. If you're brave and brake late, you can try and set yourself up for a neck and neck run up through the start finish, and that is Lodge Corner. And then one last little straight that's been added to this is just before we get onto the start finish is Deer Leap, and it's the last little kink before the finish line. And as we said, great opportunity for some drag racing. So that's Oulton Park in full, a legendary track where tonight's race will be won or lost on precision, bravery, and maybe a little bit of luck. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and check out our driver standings with Marlon.
Our driver standings for this week is going to be one of our top stories for tonight is going to be Julian Al, 392 points in that Porsche 992 GT3 R. He managed to take the lead away from Matt Moon, who unfortunately got caught last week in Skyline, and that is going to be the next driver we're going to be talking about, also in a Porsche 992. Matt Moon needs a really big drive here, and in order to make something out of this championship run. And if he's unable to get some points here, then I don't know if he's going to be able to do it in Valencia, because Valencia again is a lot less harder than this track, but that means it's just going to be a lot more consistent driving from now on.
Definitely.
And the last person we're going to be talking about in the gold division is going to be Anthony Lombardo, who had one of their best results in the last 3 rounds for this season. He's one of the more consistent drivers on the grid. Unfortunately, his run was cut short in Misano, I believe, but he's back, he's better, and he's still in this championship fight. Now let's look towards the silver division battles. We have Riley Greer, who's currently holds the fastest practice time within the entire D6 class, even faster than the gold drivers, pushing D3 times with a 134.2. He's gonna be someone to look out for this race. But another person in the silver class that we're also going to be looking at is Dick Zimmerman Sr. 237 points, going to be 54 points behind Riley Greer. He's an upcoming crowd favorite. He's an upcoming my favorite, and he's a big gainer from the last round. So that will be our our driver standings, and I'll head it over to Alexa for the driver standings. I mean the team standings. Sorry.
All right, Alexa, so
Thank you very much. As you can see on, thank you very much. As you can see on the board right there, it is Top Gun Pigeon X Racing who go into this round in the lead. They lead on 658 points. Not far behind them though, only 35 points behind. That is 623 points, which goes to Visual Sim Sport in P number 2. Of course, the Top Gun, it is Cleveland and Matt with Visual having Anthony and Brad. Don't count out Fast and Ferrariist though at Plan E in P number 3 with 596 points. They're not to be counted out. However, that could be another story after tonight. That's all with gold drivers. First team to have a silver driver in the lineup, that goes to P number 4 of Cousin Eddie's RV Maintenance Racing with 531 points to their name, with P number 5 going to Champion Motorsports Speed Bandits with Thomas and Fernando in P number 5, 487 points. And I'm going quickly through it. You can already see the points on the screen. It is WRT Noobs Are Us in P number 6, with P number 7 being Best Coast Motorsports. P number 8 then goes to GBR_Apex Racing, with P number 9 going to Audios Amigos, with P number 10 being Max Racing Team to round out the top 10. Then P number 11 of OS Racing 961 GT Motorsports sits in P number 12, with P number 13 being Julius Racing with Trey Morgan and Josh Parker. P number 14 then goes to Moonlight Horizon Racing with Tim Parkinson and Sebastian Rook. And then on his own for Stang the Halls, it is Cameron Beeson in P number 15. P number 16 then goes to Champion Motorsports. Return of the... Apparently the rest of it isn't on there, with P number 7 going to Vanquish Racing, Drop the Hammer. Red Devil Racing then sits P number 18, with P number 19 being Lightning Racing Team. And then P number 20 to round out the standings, only on 27 points on his own, it's Gordon Beverly Jr. for Bohica Racing, or OBDA.
That is awesome. Right, so we've got a little bit of time. The drivers have just got into their cars and they're now waiting in the pit lane to go out and get their warm-up all done and dusted. So in the meantime, Marlon, obviously you've been commentating D6 for quite a while now in most of the season, unlike myself and Alexa. So what have been, what do you think's been the best race so far, with obviously 2 corkers of tracks left to go?
I'd say the best race so far has definitely been either Mount Panorama last week, or the Nürburgring. Those wet conditions always make for a fun race, but also Mount Panorama has just always been a hectic race. We didn't see a lot in the early stages of the race yesterday, but once that 30-minute mark hit, everything just started changing for all the drivers.
Yeah, it was absolute carnage, and I loved watching it as well from the outset. So no, absolutely. And Alexa, since this is your home race, have you got any tidbits or facts for us, or any sort of information like that going for Oulton Park? We touched lightly on Knickerbrook as we went round on the track map.
Yeah, well, actually, when it comes down to it, Oulton Park is one of the highest in the UK circuits. Of course, you've got Knock Hill, which is not in the game, however, located just outside of Chester, about 20-25 miles out. It's near the capital of Cheshire, and of course, it's right in the northwest. And most of the track is surrounded by greenery. It's right next to a lake, which can make for quite some interesting conditions, not so much in the ACC game, but infamous in real life, mainly for the British Formula 4 and the British Touring Car Championship. Of course, the cars are actually quite a bit wider in the game, but when you have those smaller cars of the BTCC, you can really get some moves going. Of course, like you said, going through that track, Sector 1 is going to be your main overtaking opportunity, and one of the best moves to do actually around this circuit is round the outside at Cascades, and of course down into the Shell Oil's hairpin, the only banked corner on this circuit, and it's one of your best overtaking opportunities, as of course halfway through the circuit you're going to have the chicanes, which can really slow down the racing action but can also lead to quite a lot of collisions going through it. And shouldn't really be called the corner, but it's still called it. Hilltop is actually not the highest elevation part of the circuit. That goes to Clay Hill with the slight kink. And of course, you've got the double apex of Druids, which demands precision and everything, which one wrong move there, you are going off. Lodge Corner also can be very hard to mistake, as if you go in a little bit too deep, that's going to give somebody behind you the perfect opportunity to, like you said, a bit of a drag race down into turn number 1. Down the inside is where you want to be for turn number 1, but around the outside at turn number 3 is also a good opportunity with down the inside at 4. But you don't want to go too wide into there sometimes, because that can cause a lot of collisions. It's down into Shell Oil hairpin where you want to make that overtake. Have I had a moment here, chat?
No, it's me having a moment. My mic decided to turn itself off. I apologize. Yeah, no, Oulton Park's one of my favourites. Yeah, standard queasy things apply in this. Yeah, it's been a heck of a race, and a heck of a season so far from the few races that I've covered with D6. Like you said, Marlon, I think Mount Panorama was definitely a highlight for me. I mean, especially something that, you know, is not a rarity, but certainly is nice to see, which was a relatively clean lap 1. Now, that was Mount Panorama. We got a track that's, in my opinion, harder, half the distance, half the length, and I'm hoping they can carry that momentum in again back into this race. But we'll see. I'm always hopeful. I know that the D6 boys and girls have been doing a lot of practice. I mean, before the race, there are at least 20, 25 cars. Sorry, before the start of this, there are 20 or 25 cars out there practicing. So they definitely have the capacity. They know the track, most of them, pretty well. And let's go ahead now. The cars are just coming out onto the track, so let's go ahead and switch through to the race screen and hope that it works. There we go. So we have everything all set up. Let's go ahead and pick out one of those drivers that are at the very front of the queue. Now, a quick explainer for people who might be tuning in for the first time. Our qualifying sessions are split up into, or they're divided up, I should say, into 2 different sections. 2 classifications, as Marlon already touched on in the driver standings. We have a gold and silver classification. The silvers get the pleasure of going out first. And I think at the very front, no, not quite, but right at the front there is Riley Greer, who had a really good Mount Panorama. But yeah, 2 sections. So the first 10 minutes, we're going to see the silvers go out, and the second 10 minutes, we're going to see the golds go out. So over to you guys.
Let him through.
We're going to let him through.
Look at that.
He just knows. I'm just
Riley Greer already taking command here.
Yeah.
Fastest time again in practice session. Let's see what time he can pull today. Maybe he can gain pole position today.
I'm really hoping so. I didn't take a look at who the fastest was actually in the pre-race sort of practice there. So I'm a bit in the woods as to who's going to go first, but you've got to think on form. You've got to be looking at Anthony Lombardo, Julian Au is always, I mean, I think he's had 3 out of the 5 last fastest laps or something like that in a race, or quali, one of the two. You know, Riley Greer has obviously been putting in a load of effort as well. And I always like the dark horse as well, Cameron Beeson, who, you know, again, has just been somebody who's put in consistently good performances, but maybe has slipped a little bit under the radar in the last couple of races.
Yeah, most definitely. And to be honest, you were saying about this queue here at Oulton Park, you want to get that clean air as quickly as possible, because all the drivers are going to be coming out right behind each other, and with how tight and tricky this track is, it's going to be real hard to get out of that dirty air. You want all of the clean air to get right into it, as the 293, it seems, is going to be the first driver to go around the circuit, and that is going to be Riley Greer. As for G5 Racing, as you go down into turn number 1, nice and
Riley
Greer. Try not to go over too much as he goes to the right hand side. Way too much throttle, way too much steering input, and that is going to give him a very, very bad start to his first run here, and off he goes at turn number 3. And that is just going to be extremely unfortunate. The McLaren going to be right behind him. It's going to be trying to come through as well as
Riley, no.
Riley Greer not looking great in this qualifying session.
No.
That person behind him, though, I do want to talk. It is Zipperburn Senior, which is his class rival. So we had Riley Greer last week, almost taking pole position, but we had Zamora, I believe, in the gold division, taking that away from him at the last second. Can he pull it off today? That's what I want to see.
I mean,
but I also want to see Zipperburn Senior.
There's a lot of fast qualifiers, but I think translating that into race is something entirely different. Now, I'm trying to remember back, because didn't Zamora have like a really... Oh, say goodbye to that bollard with a tyre barrier. Didn't, if I remember correctly, Zamora had a pretty big lead, and then he in the mix got lost up in it all, didn't he? So I hope that he can translate this week his naturally fast pace into actual race pace, because he certainly deserved more, I felt, from last week.
Definitely. He had a really extremely fast qualifying time. He was just not able to capitalize it. He messed up somewhere in the race. Wasn't entirely over for him, but that really put him far behind in the race to even take the top 10 spot. So we'll see how he fares today. Again, we just have a really good race coming up.
We do.
So
we do.
We get to watch this in full action.
Now, I'd say that initial lap time put down by Zipperburn Senior there, yeah, I was going to say, probably not on the fast side. Probably just a sighter lap, just to make sure that everything was as he wanted it to be. Let's go ahead and take a look at somebody else now. Let's pick somebody out of the lineup. It's still sticking with Zipperburn. Let's take a quick look here. That is my cook. Jean May, there we go. Now, I don't think Jean actually, or Jean, apologies if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, but I don't think he actually came out there in Mount Panorama. Gave that a miss. So, traditionally, pretty good racer. So I'm excited to see what he's got to show as well. And I was just thinking, while we were going through that, who do we have in terms of penalties? Let me just get that information up real quick. Right, so yeah, that's worth mentioning. So, go ahead.
You go back ahead. Oh, hey, we got a yellow flag down at turn number 3.
We do, car number 152. Let's go back and have a quick look and see what happens. So that is Mr. Beckstead, Daniel Beckstead, just going a little bit wide on the exit turn 1, and then trying to take a different line, I'd say, into Cascades. Didn't work out for him. But yeah, what I wanted to quickly get out was penalties. So one of my favourites, Corey Colt. So this is why he hasn't been mentioned so far today, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, Corey managed to rack up enough penalty points, so he has a race ban for today. So we won't feature Corey, and it's a shame because he managed to climb himself really high up into 4th place in the Gold Championship division. But yeah, pretty safe to say he's gonna fall out of that position come the end of the race. But you never know what might happen in the next race. We also have, you remember Marlon last week, Josh Parker, who had a bit of a nightmare time. He's earned himself a pit lane start today, so he won't be coming out in qualifying, and he'll be starting right from the very back. But as I'd say from yesterday, you know, there were people who started at the very back yesterday with various qualifying bans or what have you. But actually, they managed to climb up pretty high, so it's definitely not all over for him. And then finally, we've got Brad Charland, who unfortunately has a qualifying ban as well. So we've got three races, three good races, big names of Division 6, not actually taking part today, which gives an opportunity for some of the other guys.
I mean, yeah, you got to take advantage of it. When the big names get taken down, you come in and you take your opportunity. And a circuit like this, anything and everything can happen. As we go over to Liz Alice, as we go down into the penultimate corner, and then over and work please, over and up the crest of Dia Leap to come back on main straight one more time,
keep it
and
safe.
then please excuse me, it is early in the morning as going through turn one. That is the rear end that slips out, and around they go. You can see him in the background there of the Honda, and that is going to be extremely unfortunate. Can Jean keep it clean? Can he keep it tidy? I am accidentally doing that to my mic as we do continue going on. Mally is going to be going down into turn number 3, and round the long left-hander you will go. And nice and tidy as you begin the run down to the hairpin. Through this circuit though, even though they're not exactly bankings, there are a few moments where you can put the car right on the limit and it will actually rotate your car for you. You can't really do them at any corners, but you can still get those slight advantages as we head it now down into the first of the two chicanes. This one a lot tighter than the other. Of course, that is going to be Britain's, and then down onto over the crest and down towards Phillips, and then Knickerbrook, followed by Clay Hill and Druids. Everybody, and I know what people are going to say. I know what people are going to say. Doesn't every British track have a corner named Druids?
Ooh.
Yes. Yes, we do. As that is going to be Parkinson, who will pull over to the side. As Zipperburn is going to be going down into turn number 1 right now with 11 minutes 35 seconds remaining on the clock. However, of course, only 1 minute 30 seconds now remaining for the silver driver qualifying. If you come over that line after that 10-minute remaining mark, you have to return a pit lane. That's your qualifying done. If you come over that line with 10 minutes 1 second remaining, you're allowed to get one more lap in. At the 10-minute mark, we will see the gold drivers start to come out onto the track. As Sebastian Rock down through turn number 3, and then John into turn number 1. It is all over the place. Everybody loves it. Everybody knows it. It's Oulton Park. It's tricky. It's tight. It's one hell of a roller coaster. Even if people do call Brands Hatch the roller coaster. And then we're going to continue going on, as that is going to be a moment right there, and that is going to be slowing them down for the rest of this qualifying. As Riley is going to be up top in qualifying right now for the silvers, 1 minute 35, 1:55. Equivalent says the top lap time on the board. Can they go quicker here this evening, morning, or wherever you may be watching? This is the Sim Racing Alliance, and this is the penultimate round. It is round number 7 of round number 8. It's Oulton Park, and I was talking about those bankings just before. Through that corner, just before the hairpin, you can see it right there when you're low down in the car. That little change in the landscape, it can make a slight banking if you know how to take advantage of it. Over the deer leap and down into the main straight, here comes Zipperberm as he will go across the line. Does he get an improvement? He stays P number 5. That's going to be P number 5 for the 939, and he has one more lap to go. However, right now, with the 10-minute clock, the 10 minutes remaining strikes, and here come the gold drivers, Queasy. As I think Queasy muted his mic again.
No,
so,
I'm back. Oh, my apologies. I was going to say, Marlon, your prediction was correct. Riley Greer has a provisional first place as we come out here with a 135.1. Yeah, what do you think?
This is an absolute monster of a lap. Again, Riley Greer, fastest time in practice, showing why he has that fastest time in practice too. But can we also talk about Shane Rock? Shane Rock
Yes.
managed to pull by 7/10 of a second here. That could put him again like up above some gold division drivers here. We have Zipperburn Senior down in 7th. That is going to be Greer's divisional rival. And
Although
he's
he is on an
able to-
improvement. He is on an improvement. He's on 0.7
Yeah,
at the moment.
he is on an improvement. This is his last lap, though. He's going to have to make this big. Can he make the time, get into a closer position to Greer? Maybe, just maybe he'll be able to take this championship away. It looks like Cube in the chat also has converted into a Zipperburn Senior fan. Welcome to the race.
Welcome, Cube. Hope your voice is getting
always
better.
Nice
mate.
to have you.
And the Zipperburn Senior goes over the line. What can he do with it? He goes second. You know what? That's a good lap. Staying in
That's
contention with
an
Riley.
absolute monster lap from him too.
Not far off either. 0.1. I mean, that's a sneeze in the wrong corner. That's the difference between the two there. So let's go ahead and take a look at the person just coming around that corner. We got Julian out at the front of the pack.
Julian Al, like we talked about in the driver standings, he is going to be one of the people we're going to be watching for this race. He currently holds the lead from Matt Moon and Anthony Lombardo, but that things could change so quickly in this race. Again, Oulton Park, one of the harder maps of this season, just like Mount Panorama. Kind of threw curveball with Mount Panorama, but then you kind of just throw like an even harder curveball when you're going into Oulton Park here.
Yeah, and I think it's a three. Well, certainly it's a 2-horse race. I think. Well, no, it's 3. I shouldn't write off Mr. Lombardo. Let me just go and check where he is on the track at the moment, because he'll be an interesting one to look at. So Anthony Lombardo just coming around. He's got a little bit of traffic ahead of him, but nothing too much. It's a three-way race. You know, Julian Au has the lead, but it is a slender one. Matt Moon coming off the back of a disappointing, I think it's fair to say, Mount Panorama, and you know, looking to make it back and prove why he was at the top of the leaderboard. And then just kind of sneaking in. He's had a few podiums. He's had a few great results. Is Anthony Lombardo, and looking to make a difference there. So yeah, it's a 3-horse race. I know that Riley Greer in the Silver Championship, like you explained, has sort of run away with it a little bit, and it's all down to P2. But yeah, there we go. It's all set up. So Alexa, talk us through it. What are your thoughts so far?
I mean, it's an interesting one when it comes down to it. Of course, the Silver Driver's now done with their qualifying. This is my first time doing D6, so excuse me if I'm not exactly up to date on everything, but how close that is, of course, it's going to be Greer, who sits up top still currently. I'll only able to go P number 2 by less than a tenth of a second. P number 2 in the standings in by a sneeze in a corner, like you said, but then it's 7/10 to the next Silver Driver behind P number 1 and 6/10 to P number 2 in the silver. Right now, though, Al in the carbon fiber Porsche is going to be going down into the first of the 2 chicanes, of course, to slow down the lap here at Oulton Park. Otherwise, it would be way too quick with these GT3s. But of course, we're running the national layout. We are running the longest layout. We are using the longest of the 4 circuits you can have here at Oulton Park, not including the rally. If you include the rally, that makes 5. But right now, as you go into the final section, sector number 3, of course, it may not seem like it, but only by a few extra miles per hour, if you're pushing hard enough, it is the fastest part of the circuit. And under the bridge, you will go with that beautiful camera angle here at Oulton. Surrounded by the greenery, surrounded by the fans. Not that many grandstands, if you can even call them grandstands realistically here at Oulton. Over the deer lever, maybe a little bit of slipstream. Al goes across the line, and he will go to the top. 1 minute 35, 1-2-0. But that slipstream from Morgan, was that an advantage there for the Porsche, even if unintentional?
I mean, look, you got to take everything you can get, right? I mean, it gets you ahead by 0.035. I can't say that. I doubt it made that. Well, maybe it did. Maybe I don't know. This is motor racing so
It's
far.
got to have made it. That is 35,000, not 35 thousandths of a second. That is an insanely small amount of time. But again, Greer losing that pole position. But again, silver driver, gold division drivers going to be in different classes. But I feel like Greer in these last few races has been driving at a gold level standard here.
Yeah, 100%. And the important thing as well is that, you know, Dick Zipperburn is right behind him. That's the important thing. Zipperburn Senior is right behind him.
Maybe there is a chance that Zipperburn Senior does anything. I mean, anything can happen. Yeah, and that's the art of racing.
Yeah, and like I found out yesterday, anything can happen. As fellow debutant co-commentator Trey Morgan looks to have gone off. Let's go and have a look and see what happened to Trey. So that looks like it might be a victim of the Island Bend. Let's see what happens. Carries a lot of speed into it. Oh, no, he's fine. Oh, he's just pulling out the way. Okay, all right. Well, oh, and then getting in the way. But oh, and then it suddenly moves. Okay, well, you know, an attempt was made. As, by the way, we've just missed Tristan Zamora taking the top spot again, and not by a small amount either. 0.188. And looking to go even faster on this lap.
Wouldn't call that a small margin though.
Yeah,
that is the fastest lap, almost pushing the fastest lap of the practice times too. 134 is now pushing D3 times here. If Greer can push a 134.2, Zamora is going to push a 134.9, but this is going to be in qualifying where it actually is very important here.
Just going to have a quick look at what happens with Matt Moon as he comes down in the Cascades. Oh, just finds the grass. And like we said in the track overview, if you find the grass around Cascades, that is bad news all over. So got to try and avoid that. And it all comes down to the entry as well. As I see Shane Lewis cutting the mustard between Dick Zipperburn Sr. and Riley Greer.
Yeah, as actually, while we were talking about that, Queasy said the corner name. Does anybody want to guess why Cascades is called Cascades?
Because it's as wet as a cascade.
It's it's a really obscure one.
Very slippery.
Because it's where most drivers cascade off.
Oh,
Who would have thought?
That is fair. That's fair.
I mean, that's almost like, you know, listing lazily to the left, isn't it, as a description? Cascading off to the right. Yeah, I can see.
I would have thought it would have been like, you know,
yeah,
how slippery it was in the track, but it does make sense that Cascades is one of the more hot areas where drivers do push off the track, because you are pushing that small amount of speed into, or that high speed into that corner just to get more time. But yeah, that does make sense.
So let's take a look at who's improving. Tristan Zamora has dropped off. Julian out. Oh, as Santos goes for some style points around there. I think he held on to it though. Yeah, he did. Shane Lewis is on a slight improvement of 0.1, which would be enough to see him into P3 at the moment. So, and that is really the only improver. Mac Morgan a bit lower down on a 0.3 improvement. As Julian Au takes the top spot at the last second, he must have made up some huge gains on that last corner then. By half a second as well. It wasn't
half
like that before.
Half a second, no. Whoa.
Oh, wow, okay. The gauntlet has been laid down. A 134.2 is not slow at all.
Well, that's more
what
than
I was talking about earlier, that penultimate corner. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. That penultimate corner can be a make or break. You take too much speed in, you have to brake way too much to make sure that you make the corner. It needs to be absolute inch perfect, and it looks like they were able to do that, as right now we are going to go over to Zamora as we have got 15 seconds left on the clock here in qualifying. It's the gold drivers out on track, and Trey Morgan, thank you for hopping in last night, good sir, in D number 1. As he, of course, if you haven't watched that, feel free to go watch that over on twitch.tv/.
/Sim Racing Alliance.
/Sim Racing Alliance.
As Alexa takes an unfortunate dip out there. What a time to do it. But that's right.
You must have been in Cascades.
so you can remember, guys, remember to go and check out other streams. Tonight we've got D4 also on YouTube, and we've got, as Alexa was alluding to D1 and D2 over on the Twitch. D2's racing tonight, so they're also available. So, you know, we want you here, though. We want you here. As Julian now crosses the finish line to secure first place. But Tristan Zamora is on an improvement as he goes through Knickerbrook. So let's see what Tristan Zamora can do.
4/10 of a second here.
He's close.
That is a very good lap here. That
close.
last corner is where he's gonna be gaining the most time. Can I say though, Julian Al, I just checked the practice times. He beat the fastest time by 30 thousandths of a second.
Ooh. Which is where you want to do it. As Zamora comes over the line, is it an improvement? Oh, no, it's not. It's an improvement, but it's only...
It's not going to be enough. Yeah.
So there you
not
go.
Enough for a position.
Julian Al making an absolute statement there as we watch the last two come over. Shane Lewis is on... he's down, unfortunately. So it won't
He's
be an
down
improvement.
on second, yeah.
Bit of pit stop practice. So with that in mind, thank you very much, guys. We're going to quickly hop over to an ad break. And when we get back, it will be qualifying. A huge thank you to our SRA sponsors and title sponsors for supporting us here at SRA, as well as support from Documise, a modern business solution for product management. Go to documise.com to learn more today. And support from Retro Saga, a North American-based gaming company that provides accessories for your favourite classic systems, including Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, and much more. Enhance your retro gaming experience today at retrosaga.ca. And a big thank you to our affiliates, Track Racer. Experience redefined gaming with Track Racer's high quality sim rigs and accessories. Use code SRATE at checkout to support us. Armamentario, a toolbox for ACC that will enhance your chance to win. Enjoy a fully customizable and enhanced HUD to change the way you experience ACC. AT3D Sim Shop. Upgrade your sim racing experience today with premium 3D printed accessories featuring precision crafted magnetic shifters, sleek cable management solutions, versatile stream deck mounts, and immersive dashboard displays. Their innovative designs enhance performance and style, elevate every lap with top-tier quality and craftsmanship at at3d.net. Go Setups, premium esports setups for everybody. Use our affiliate link on our Discord and take your drive to the next level. Castle and Cauldron, a home-based crafting business specialising in handmade Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts and Fairy World collectibles. Magic wands, potions, mini dioramas, wall decor, costumery, cosplay, and much more. Castle and Cauldron is where crafting meets the magical. Visit facebook.com/Castle Cauldron. And from KP Concepts, your source for custom automotive renderings, graphic design, and printing. We spend countless hours making you look all good for the spectacle. Check out kpconcepts.com for more.
We got Julian Al in P1, and then we have that is followed by T Zamora in P2. Shane Lewis going to be following in that McLaren, and Riley Greer, our silver division leader in the BMW. Mark Allen, surprisingly better than last week. Zipperburn Senior, upcoming crowd favorite. Michael Santos in the McLaren. Mike Cook also in the McLaren, nice livery. Anthony Lombardo and Matt Moon are going to be fighting for those positions right there. That's a battle we're going to be looking at. Kotoira, one of the crowd favorites, or at least one for someone. Pizzuto, followed by Rock, and then Brian Acombe in the Porsche. Stearns in the Aston Martin. What a car choice. T. Morgan in the Mustang. Leatherwood following in the Porsche. Beeson also in a Mustang, and then Muntean is going to be following in the McLaren. Jen also in that BMW, and then Mac Morgan in the McLaren. Duong Bonglio finally got his name right consistently in the Ferrari, and then Parkinson in the NSX, Mai in the Ferrari 296, Beckstead going to be following in the McLaren, and then T-Kiss in the Ferrari 2. And then Alicia also in the McLaren. A lot of McLarens and Ferraris, Charlins in the McLaren too. And we have our people starting from the pits. It's going to be Parker and Mark DC.
I don't think Mark DC had a penalty, but I know Josh Parker did. So yeah, I'm not sure.
That's interesting.
Why DC's still in the pits. But yeah, good job, mate. You made it through. And look, we had plenty of time. Why did you rush? You didn't need to.
You told me to rush.
I also realised I had my mic muted for the beginning of that, so our viewers just got to listen to silence before you started. But that's fine. So yeah, look, this is it. Penultimate lap. We've got the goals are all set up. Julian Au exactly where he needs to be. Matt Moon, however, down in 10th place. It's going to be a heck of a comeback. But as we've been saying, anything, absolutely anything, is possible in this race. So as they come around Knickerbrook, we will see them all filter through. I think my dark horse today is going to be Mike Cook. I think Mike Cook has a really good racecraft, and I think he's going to make it all the way through. I'm also interested to see how. As Mac Morgan decides to go for the spin.
Going in the spin. You know what I realized?
What's that?
Corey Colt isn't here.
Yeah, that's what I said.
There's
yeah,
no
in the book, Corey Colt's got a penalty. So anyway.
Oh, he's a penalty.
With that, let's give it over to infamously good starter for our commentary team, and that is Alexa Marshall. Alexa, you have the start. Take us away. And just a reminder as well to everybody watching, we will go back and look at any lap 1 incidents at the end of the first half, or first lap. We'll see what it has to show us first. Alexa.
Thank you very much. As we go through the penultimate corner, of course, you got Dia Leap onto the main straight. It is Al on pole position. Zamora in P number 2. We're just outside of Cheshire, and the engines begin to roar as the drivers will look to the right-hand side of the circuit to look for that infamous. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. It's boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing as the green flag drops here at Oulton Park, and away we go.
There's already contact in turn 1.
To the grass a little bit. And that is going to be a contact in turn number 1 as they are going to be sent around. Going to go down through turn number 2 real quickly. Luckily enough, not too many people getting caught up in that incident. Made a little bit of contact right there. Down through turn number 2. Off at Cascades. Cascades a right-hand car. And that is actually going to be Julian Al who decided to do that there momentarily. Yellow flags were flying momentarily, and they do now continue to fly as we go down into the left-hander.
Oh, Julian,
and
no!
trying to keep as fast as possible as Al, who started on pole position, now falls down the grid order. It was absolute celebration at the end of Q. But now in the R, that is it. That is done. It is over. It's going to be Zamora who leads us right now. Lombardo, or otherwise known as Anthony, as that's what I'm going to call it, so I don't botch pronunciations. Down into the second chicane we will go to bring down the overall racing speed, but the rest of the circuit will now continue. Through the second chicane you will go Sebastian Rook in the Honda, trying to make their way through as well, as that is actually going to be Andrew, who's going to be on the defensive, that pure white car here in the pure north of the UK. And we do continue on as Jean seeming to have a bit of a moment there on the first lap. They've fallen further back into that back set of cars. You can see it on the main map. You got that big front group, and you got that smaller second group, although it's basically split into first, third, second, third, and then onto the main straight we go.
And we are going to have to review a few things that happen on turn 2, but before we do that, let's see if Moon's got anything in his back pocket. He's up against Zipperburn Senior as they go down through into the Cascades now. Let's see what Moon can do. I'm already devastated. We need to go back and look at what happened to Julian. We need to go back and see what happened to Riley. Let's go ahead and take that opportunity now. So let's go to the first incident that we had. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to look down the list. It was quite busy. So we go to Riley Greer first to see. So he's quite up close behind Zamora at the beginning. I wonder if that just throws him off a bit with regards to the, the race start. Oh, it's just a bump from Shane Lewis. Sends him off.
From Shane Lewis, and that's going to send off Mark Allen too. Mess up his race.
And then let's go ahead and take a look at what happened a bit further down with the accidents. This is Zipperburn Senior having an incident here. And after that, we'll get back to the racing, because these laps do not go slowly I think that's probably Mark Zipperman just getting caught up a little bit. Just gets pushed a little wide there by Zipperman.
Most
Yeah.
likely.
He looks like he came out unscathed, which is good. But again, we talked about a lot earlier about how much this race can change. We already had a lead change.
Oh, it's Michael Santos goes wide.
Oh, and Michael Santos goes wide. He's going to lose positions there.
That's what we're talking about, that penultimate corner.
Yep, absolutely. And that, I mean, this is just fallen to Anthony Lombardo right now. He's having a
sorry
little...
to interrupt here, Queasy.
Yeah.
Yellow flags momentarily. I don't know who that was. I believe you may have actually just caught that. We had yellow flags momentarily down as you go, just going off the circuit. Was there a collision here with Al? As it did seem yellow there momentarily. They are going to go side by side.
That's
and that is
massive collision.
Straight on the front end. Round they goes. And I think, we're not going to say it because we're not biased, but I think it's very clear who will be at fault for that incident. Heading out of the Shell Oil hairpin and then down into the rest of the circuit. Around the outside is going to be, down the inside goes Steams. It is going to be Akom, who will be right behind him. Going to go wheel to wheel, side by side. Going to try stick with each other. And then Cameron Beerson also going to be right there with him. Curling sign P number 12, seeming to get an overtake there momentarily. On again, as you can see the elevation of the circuit, you can see the bumpiness of the circuit, a pure British racing track, and then down into the braking zone it will go, trying to get as close to that bumper as possible of the Beamer. The Ferrari is not going to have too much of an opportunity there, and it seems like they're going to lose time out of the chicane as we head up the hill.
So let's go ahead and join on board with Finn Jen. Sorry, Marlon, you're going to say something. Go ahead.
Sorry, Parkinson just managing to lose 2 positions there to Brad Charlin and Julian Al. As we saw earlier in the lap, oh my goodness, someone is off tracks, and that's going to be, who is that?
That is Carl 180. I think that's Finn. No, it's not. It's Andrew Duambonglio. Let's have a look and see what happened.
We saw that in the rearview mirror there momentarily. I don't know if Queasy also saw it. The camera angle's not doing much play. Onto the grass, rear end loses, round you go, and the pure white car taking out the red and black Ferrari.
Yeah, not great. Mark Allen just being caught up a little bit, I think, by John Bonglio going a little bit wide there. Jean Mayer, unfortunately, had a pretty decent start for a silver driver.
And it looks like Stern's going off. He's going to hit the wall before
Stearns.
Oil's catch.
Let's try and get to him. Yeah, that is Stearns. That is, what's his car number? Let's have a look. 674. Let's go back and see if we can pick anything up. I think at the moment our...
Look at Parker with that move just before the replay happens. But
Classic.
Stearns, unfortunately, going off before Oil's catch. He's going to have to try and find a way on the track safely.
There's no way.
That's going to really put him back.
No!
Oh, and he's going to spin again.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Sorry. Let's go to Anthony Lombardo, though, who's hot on the tail of Shane Lewis at the moment, battling for P2. Lombardo has just turned up for this race. As he dives down the inside, going into Lodge Corner. Is this... Yes, he does, and he gets the move done. Lombardo, he's coming for Zamora now. On an absolute rampage.
Shane Lewis.
Yeah, is Anthony going to be the one?
Sticking with him. Into corner 1, into corner 2. But it looks like Lombardo's going to get it.
Yeah, based off the pace alone, I think Lombardo's probably going to start disappearing into the distance, which is a problem for Zamora because, again, Zamora is going to be looking in his rear view, making sure as we see Jean May, I think he's had a little bit of a moment there going into Lodge Corner. It's Tim Parkinson, I think, is another
Parkinson, I just saw that. Parkinson just let Allen through, but also look at Allen's car. There's significant damage. I think we talked about this in Mount Panorama. The Ferrari and the McLaren both suffer hard from damage. Small amount of damage, large amount of damage, it doesn't matter. It's going to affect their setups. He's just going to let him through it. Yeah, it's going to be the NSX. Yeah.
Just saying, on you go, man.
The NSX is just hard to drive. So
hard to drive at the best of times. It's been Jen comes under a bit of pressure here from and I got to make sure I get this right. This is Justin Montine. It was Justin Montine. Let's go back to Justin Montine as he's only 0.4 behind. We do have actually another incident. This is between Fernando Catoira and car number 116. Let's take a look and see what happened there. Or is this? This is
likely down
this
into
is Alicia.
Cascade. Yeah, this is Alicia down into Cascades. Al's right behind them. They are going to go wheel to wheel.
556 is going to have an incident. We have a yellow flag on track.
Oh,
Or 556.
yeah, that is. Hey, let's see what happens. We're coming down into the chicane, and do they just go wide or do they put too much throttle into it? Too much throttle.
Oh, that's gonna be hard damage.
That is going to be big damage. Now we've got to stick with the live racing because we've got some pretty close times here. We've got Julian Owl trying to make his way back up the field, back up in 17, makes a move on Michael Santos there.
It does look like the middle pack. There's at least a 7-car train here within a tenth of a second.
Sebastian Rock has had an
Sebastian
unfortunate...
Rock's going off.
Highland
That's
Bend.
the NSX.
That is Highland Bend. It's a doozy, as the Americans would say. It's a doozy.
So we've seen it from Parkinson in the NSX, and now we've seen it from Shane Rock, but Shane Rock is significantly higher in the order than Parkinson was.
Well, not anymore. Sorry, Sebastian. I apologize. As
Montine is right behind Jen.
Jen feeling the pressure, and Julian now looking to stick his
Julian
nose in and see what's
licking
going.
his lips there. That's a 3-way train right there, entering into the final corners of this track. Who's gonna come out on top? Jen, Montine, Al. Al looking to go a little more risky, but no, he's gonna follow through. He's gonna have a little wheel spin and lose a little control there, entering the last corner, which is where Jen could lose him, but also Montine in that McLaren's just gonna have a better turn, and Jen is gonna have that straight line speed. Jen doesn't get a good exit. Montine doesn't either, but Al is following right behind too.
Yeah.
And Santos is now caught up and entering turn 1. This is gonna get really interesting into following corner.
This is going to get spicy. Now, the thing was, I think Montine went on the defensive there against Julian now. Probably a bit unnecessarily, just trying to ward it off. It's car 180. We have another yellow flag. Let's take a look at what happens. This is Andrew Donbonglio again. Just had a strong start, but since then has been fallen foul.
Yeah, it's just that damage to that 296.
Ooh, just a snap of oversteer, and immediately tries to correct it too much, and finds.
And that's probably going to be a pit there, but
yeah, well, it's the best place to do it if you need to pit. Let's be honest.
Julian Al is really pushing his car, trying to gain those positions back. He lost from the start.
Oh, they're neck and
But
neck.
he is also losing time there.
Goodness.
Oh, there is a massive train there. Jen, Montine, Al, followed by everyone
We're going to
else.
quickly go back and watch that. So this is a late-minute lunge by Catoira, I believe, on Matt Moon, if I got it correctly. Let's have a little bit of a look now. Oh, that's a late bit of braking. Oh, yeah, you don't belong there.
Yeah.
Alexa, what are your thoughts on D6 so far, then?
Chaos.
So far.
Simple way to put it.
It wasn't like this
Simple way to
last
put
week.
it. Chaos. Also good side-by-side racing though. When it does come down to it, I'm trying to keep an eye on that gap.
That's a bad exit from Montine. Julian Al's going to pull alongside him in turn 1. Michael Santos looking. Julian Al's going to take the position from Montine. Montine, can he get it back? No, Julian Al's going to stick it. But Julian Al going a little off tracks. Montine now looking to take that position back properly into turn 2.
Now, if you're Santos,
we have a battle.
What are you going to do? Oh, a bit of an attempt up the inside there by a BMW. I don't know which BMW that is. But
sorry about that, Alex. I was just watching this battle.
Love it. We absolutely love it. We do have another accident on track.
We do not.
This is Brian Acom in the Porsche.
Yeah, go ahead, Greasy.
I was just going to say this is Brian Acom trying to make a pass on one of the Morgan, or at least on Mac Morgan, I believe. Or is it O'Leary? One of the two. Oh, it's Mac Morgan. Makes it work, though, with a little bit of rubbing his racing. And nothing in it, though. Great pass.
Close racing right there. Very close racing right there.
As we go to the front of this little train that's forming behind Dick Zibberburn Sr.
mean, that's one thing you're going to expect here tonight. Trains to form as we head through sector number 3, fastest part of the Oulton Park circuit, with 47 minutes remaining on the clock. It is 22 degrees ambient temperature, 22 degrees track temperature, no rain on the forecast, and an optimal track surface. Just what you love when you go racing on the ACC game on any circuit you may race around. As right now it is going to be Zipperbot. It's going to be Zipperbot who will continue on, but we go over to Morgan down into the second chicane and then into the right-hander over the hill.
Oh, he's losing it. He's losing the control of his car.
Unfortunately, he's not going to go over the hill. He's not going to go over the hill. He's going to go into the barrier on the right-hand side at the foot. And that is going to be very, very unfortunate for Morgan. They're not going to get any higher up. They're going to be getting damage to that car. And as you've said this so far this evening, the McLaren and Ferrari not that responsive when they end up getting damage. It is Zipperbot who is going to be continuing on at the front of the train, as we do have an incident for the 423, it seems. Once again, that is going to be Mac Morgan at Cascades, who unfortunately cascaded off, and that's just an unfortunate incident when it comes down to it. Coming throughout the rest of the circuit, though, we're watching Santos in the replay apparently, and then down into the left-hander.
Riley Greer taken out.
Gear's going to be right there with him.
Oh, Santos wiping out Riley Greer, going around Island Bend. That is not an overtaking space, unfortunately. And both of them have found that out the hard way, which only makes Riley Greer, I mean, thankfully, comfortable at the top. So there's not a lot riding on him for this race, but I know he's a keen perfectionist, so he'll be looking to try and finish as strong as he possibly can. But situations like that do not help at all, as Fernando Catora makes the pass over Mike Cook and Matt Moon. Matt Moon must have had a terrible exit there, because Mike Cook,
wide into turn 1.
As I said, dark horse Mike Cook. Oh, no,
whoa, there's contact and there's follow-up contact.
I'm done. I'm cooked. I'm cooked. I'm done. Never mind.
Who gave Queasy the commentator's curse superpower? Like, honestly, this man has tried to compliment anybody this evening, and he's just cursed them in the entire process.
I'm just gonna stop. I'm just gonna stop. No,
somebody take this man's power away.
I think there's something in the script that you didn't show us, Queasy.
We've been trying to have some nice battles here, but Queasy, there's something in the script. It's God, Queasy, how dare!
Look, bank transfers may have been made to some people,
we're supposed
but it was not
to be a team here. As Fernando, so Fernando Catori, he's going to be good. Catora. I cannot pronounce that name. I am so sorry. As Daniel Catora. Okay, got you. As Daniel right now is going to continue on throughout the rest of this race as of Beck's End, and going to be going down into the left-hander of Cascades. Try not to cascade off too far, as it looks like he is going to have the
Catora,
advantage
2
on
tenths right behind
maybe a little bit more on the
Senior.
exit. Down.
Oh, sticks.
As down throughout the rest of the circuit, we are going to continue going on down into Lodge Corner, and then over through the Deer Leap, where you can actually spot a few deer sometimes if it's winter here in the UK. Going to go over the leap and onto the
We're going to have a decision change. That's going to be Michael Santos losing position. Yeah. Michael Santos has hit the wall. Oh, and he just scrubs too much of the grass. Yeah.
I think we are.
And as
this is the thing, you guys
in the
can
chat,
see who the drivers are. I don't.
You don't. As said in the chat, guys, any allegations of insider info and payoffs are entirely satirical, fictional, and not legally actionable. I just want to make that clear.
I'm sure of that.
As we go.
Why is it anytime Queasy speaks like that, he sounds like he's reading a script?
Because I was.
We're going to have Julian Al 1/10 behind Jen. Entering, what is that?
Or am I the only one who hears that?
I think Julian Howe has joined onto the back of the Zipperburn train. As Zipperburn goes wide, that forces Matt to hold up a little bit.
Oh my goodness gracious.
And that
you
also means
keep cursing people.
Fernando Catora has made his way through, so he's managed to escape the train. as Dick Zipperburn carries on. We don't want to stick on him for too long, though, because as we know, disaster strikes whenever we look at Dick Zipperburn Sr. So, unfortunately for him, that's some of the only action going, although we do have Daniel Beckstead coming up through Shellow's corner, trying to make an attempt to pass Liz Alicio, who's just having a very safe race there at the moment, doing what needs to be done, keeping the car on the track, and making her way up a few positions. As a result, up now into 21st place as car 999. Let's go and have a look at what happened here. This is Brian Acombe on Mike Cook, I believe, or Finn Jen potentially. No, keeps it all safe. Must be something to do with the exit.
Looks like Zipperburn Sr. is going to lose significant places.
Yeah.
How? He lost like 3 places there.
So let's go ahead and take a look and see what happened to Dick Zipperburn Sr. No, we won't.
Catch.
We'll try it again, and I can confirm it was an accident between Matt Moon and Dick Zipperburn Sr.
That's going to be Jan off right before Oil's catch. That's going to be a position gain for Mike Cook. Julian Owl's going to be... What is happening?
There is a lot happening. Oh, a little bit of a nudge there. Pushes Matt Moon onto the edge. So Matt Moon losing that position to commentator Trey Morgan. As I
keep talking about him and cursing.
No cursing here. As Mark Allen is behind Brian Acombe going into... Gosh, I forget the name of this. This is Hislop's coming into Hislop's now. There we go. I'm back in.
And look at that train. Separated by 4 seconds by Jen, but Jen is going to have a train right behind him too. T. Morgan leading that train. Zamora taking an absolute crushing lead. 16 seconds and almost 17.
Yeah, and you know what? Anthony hasn't actually managed to get away from Shane Lewis as much as I thought. I mean, if we look at him now, Shane Lewis is still only 1.2 seconds, 1.3 seconds off. So sticking with him despite the dominant overtake by Anthony Lombardo, and Zamora is just riding off into the sunset with this one at the moment. Oh, there's contact between Julian Howe and Mike Cook, I think. Something's happened there at least.
Cook going to Cook. That is the big question as you go down into Cascades. As looking at this momentarily a little bit further back in Lodge Corner. But right now I'm going to go over to Deer Leap, and it looks like they're going to be pretty tidy, but of course they're going to come in right behind them. Porsche in McKevin Faber. Going to be going down the inside at the first corner. That makes the contact, and that is going to be where the incident gets involved.
Yep, that's not ideal. And interestingly enough, guys,
head as...
Oh, go on. Oh, what is going on there?
What's happening?
We have 2 cars looking... That is Matt Moon and Trey Morgan.
Drivers were facing each other.
Cameron Beeson, sorry. Cameron Beeson and Matt Moon. Seemingly in a Mexican standoff.
So let's have a look here then as we come.
Oh, there's contact. There we go. It's going to spin him around.
Oh, that is not what you want to see. I mean,
I think
something happens to Beeson.
I think a very harsh conversation will be going on. I think a very harsh conversation and very much screaming will be going on through those windshields at that chicane. But
no, they definitely had a conversation after Mount Panorama. So.
A few Daytona hand out the window moments, I think, probably. Daytona-esque hand out the window moments, if they could. Yeah. I got to say, Julian How's fight back has been majestic. Julian Howe making a comeback all the way to 8th place, and also ahead of him, Mike Cook. Now, that does help with cars seemingly having face-offs on a chicane to allow you through, but there's still a comeback nonetheless for Julian Howe. I think he's down to about
Michael Santos is struggling. Riley Greer could take a position here. Like we said, who was that? Sorry, Michael Santos losing a position to Riley Greer. We're saying about position gains, but Riley Greer has not been having a good race. He started in the front, and he's all the way down in P24.
And now
that's not going to be good.
Losing the position to Julian Howe at some point between that. Although I don't think we want to take it back. Julian is on an absolute march here. Next up, Dick Zipperburn Sr. Now, interestingly enough, as I was going to allude to, the fastest drivers, so we've got Tristan Zamora with a 135 P3 is Fernando Cotoira is facing the wrong way in P4. Can he join safely back on? He's got a little bit of a gap, and he does. He gets going, although Trey Morgan sniffing an opportunity. Takes it down the inside, going into, that is logical, not sorry. Trey Morgan taking over P4. But what I was going to say is, Tristan Zamora on a 135.3, and then the next fastest is Julian Au at the moment on a, well, it was on a 135, now on a 136 with traffic. And Fernando Cotoira is also one of the fastest. So a lot of people making their way up the field behind the slower paced drivers.
It does look like Team Morgan is going to be taking that position away. That Mustang is just so quick on the straights. He's going to be losing, or sorry, yeah, he's going to be losing Cotoira behind him. But can Cotoira come back into at least Oil's catch?
Oh my goodness.
We got two wide. Zipperburn Senior's cook.
We'll have to wait and see.
Into Oil's catch. Zipperburn is going to take that.
Tweet what happened for car 999, which of course is Brian Acombe again having another unfortunate race so far.
Yeah, well, it seems like it's just the nature of the circuit.
Yeah,
as
Ben
that,
taking business.
I don't know if anybody got that, but yep, as it does. That was at Cascades.
Sorry, Cascades.
As,
4-2-3. What's happened here? Matt Morgan again. Is it another victim of Island Ben? I see. Yes, it is.
Oh no! Just right before he's gonna touch that grass before Oil's catch.
Oh.
Again. That grass is just so slippery. It's gonna mess with the tires. That's why we don't go on the grass on this track, or any British track for that matter.
Yeah, exactly. Like it rains here constantly, and like, well, maybe not down south, but like especially up here in the north where this track is based. Yeah, no, it rains here like half a day every single day. So not only is that grass going to be wet, it is going to be muddy. So you definitely do not want to be having a touch of the grass here at Oulton Park. Going to be going down through Cascades and then down towards Island Bend one more time. Cook is going to be trying to do everything that they can through Islands Bend and then down into Shell Oil Hairpin. Where can they get an opportunity? Can they keep it clean? I'm not going to lie, when I saw Morgan going backwards, I thought he was going to try reverse drift it through the hairpin, but unfortunately not to be. As right now, it is going to be the rest of the drivers who will continue to go. As Bing again going to be going down.
Oh, Brian Acombe's going to go off. He's going to lose positions. I thought he went into the pits, but no, he just went off.
Very wide into turn one, although he tries to make it back, overcorrects and loses it. That's unfortunate, Brian.
Very
It's going to be
unfortunate.
Zipperburn Senior going off too. Jen right next to him.
Going into Island Bend.
Right there with him as we go over the hill and down.
Zipperburn Senior knows better to fight into a risky situation. He just got out of that crash. He's going to lose 2 positions there, but he's still not out of this race. He still leads the Silver Driver pack. Riley Greer is nowhere to be found. Maybe, just maybe, Queasy, he could take this. He could take more points into Valencia with him and eventually maybe win in Valencia. And Rock goes off as I'm saying that right before Oil's catch.
It has
sorry, that was a replay.
It has been an eventful one so far. I mean, it times well with what you were saying. That's fine. We keep it going. Let's quickly go back and revisit an accident between 939 and 623. Let's just see what happened here. So that is Dick Zipperburn. And I'm trying to look through who that was. Tries to go. Oh my goodness!
You go.
Poor Mike Cook.
Well,
he's trying to redeem himself.
That's what we saw before.
Yeah, that's what we saw. As we have the Morgan brothers. Oh no, the Morgan brothers pitting together. So, yeah, little family strategy maybe playing into its part there.
Shouting between the rooms. Hey.
Yeah. I'm pitting now, mate. What?
Yeah. Hey.
Let me through.
Yeah. just like screaming across the house, as try not to get noise complaints, especially in the UK, at certain hours in the morning. As right now, that is going to be Lewis, who will be the first of the top 3 to come into the pit lane here at Oulton Park. Can Lombardo respond in time? That is the question. An undercut here can be a major strategy, but maybe also the overcut. Do you want fresh new tyres to then push as much as possible, but at the same time you've got to wait for time to heat up? And cold tyres down into Cascades, Island Bend and Shell Oil Hairpin, you do not want that, as of course going to be going down into turn number 1. Santos trying to chase down Greer as we go P number 23 versus P number 22. McLaren versus Beamer. British engineering and a true British marvel. Through Cascades we will go, and it looks like he will keep it clean. For the time being, 31 minutes 30 seconds remain on the clock here at Oulton Park. Maybe doing it 1 minute beforehand, unfortunately, but that's just the way we roll. 8:34 p.m. in-game time, 20 temperatures. As Riley, over to you, Queasy, as apparently something's happening with Riley.
Riley was trying to give, I think, the inside there to Santos, and just as a result, hit the Island Bend grass and just went straight off. So we hate to see it, but we go back on board now, back up with Max Stearns now. Ooh,
as you go down into Lodge Corner, he is going to... Yeah, I mean, can you blame him? Absolutely.
Oh, that's Mai looking
not.
the other way.
Like
Mai needs to get back on track safely here.
We have an accident here between cars 342 and 116. Let's see what happens. It must be on the exit. I think this is what happened.
Katora is also going to go off. Sorry, Queasy. There's just so many incidents happening right now. And that's going to be Zipper losing positions. Oh, that's a big accident right there.
Now, I don't know who's at fault there, because obviously you had John Mayer over on the side there, maybe looking like he was coming back on. It was a reactionary move from the car coming out of the pits. And of course, I think at that point, the other car was just a passenger. As we see another car, I think that is Max Stearns. Yeah, he's trying to thread the needle. He went off again through Island Bend. Island Bend claiming souls tonight, unfortunately.
Yeah, and also Anthony Lombardo is going to be pitting at a regular time this time. Usually we see him taking a pit later into the race, trying to overcut everyone, but this time he's going to take an early pit.
And this again, we're looking back at Jean Mayer, because the nightmare lap for him hasn't ended as he comes through the chicane too wide, too much oversteer. Hold the brakes. He does hold the brakes, but that's not an easy place to come back from. Facing the wrong way on the end of an
and he's gonna go off right at the sorry, I don't know what that is. Who is that? That's an NSX going off. That's Sebastian Rock. Oh my goodness.
Trying to keep it together. Come on, D6. We got this. Last 30 minutes now. As we cross over the 30-minute mark, we've still got Zamora.
Actually, gonna interrupt. Zamora, actually, I'm going to interject here, unfortunately. Zamora into the pit lane.
That's right, Zamora into the pit lane.
You
so
see that on the left-hand side,
into
the pit lane.
But he's going to have so much time coming out.
So
from
going
the
for the overcut strategy seeming to be opted by the race leader, Lombardo. Going to be trying to chase through the field, but of course he's going to have blue flags to get through, lap traffic, and it's very unfortunate.
Shane Lewis also made the move under pitting there. So Shane Lewis is technically our leader then on the pits, as I think Zamora is still in the pits at the moment. Let's see where he comes out with Shane Lewis. It should be a comfortable lead, I would expect. But again, Marlon, we said this last week, and I remember we said it weeks and weeks before as well. Tim Parkinson's still yet to pit. Still going to run it what long, do you reckon? Or is he going to learn from last week's mistakes and come in at a reasonable time this time? What do you think?
I hope he comes in early this time. Again, the NSX is a hard car to drive, but also we've seen him have so many incidents in this track. I believe his tires are not up to state, as we see two going into Oil's catch. Oh my goodness. This battle's not over.
These aren't even for position. This is Riley Greer, and I believe Michael Santos duking out again. Riley Greer's come back for more after taking a bit of an exit there earlier on in the race at Island Bend. He's come back and already overtaken Michael Santos again. So Riley Greer's definitely got pace. Last lap time that Riley put in was let's double check it, a 136 flat compared to Michael Santos doing a 136.4. So definitely a lot of pace left in that Riley Greer car. I think we're going to look at a little bit of a touch between them going through Island Bend. I don't think there was too much in it. Probably just a little bit of a love tap.
Well, the tree's getting in the way there momentarily. As through Island Bend, you can see it right there, and they are going to go wheel to wheel, side by side, down into Island Bend. We already saw how this turned out, but around the outside, Santos is going to try to continue it, but it's going to be Greer who will have fought, but who will, of course, be ahead, even if it is unfortunate for the McLaren. Going to be speaking of the rest of the other drivers as we go through D Elite right now, going over to Steams as I'm. Could we have to? Oh God. Yeah, sinuses. As right now, thank you. It's very cold up here in the north. As we do continue going on through the, well, it's cold up here. Well, I say it's cold up here in the north. In real life, it is. In game, it's a nice and toasty 21 degrees. Which, if a lot of people are wondering, that isn't that hot. Try having our British houses. We are built for the cold, and so are our houses. If it's 20 degrees or more, we are boiling. As right now, it's Moon who is trying to go to the moon, and he's trying to get higher up that grid order. 908 in the Porsche. As we do continue on through the right-hander and then into under the Oulton Park bridge. As you can see that little LED board. There's one thing you can also see is
that's going to be Parkinson going up. We were just talking about him. Parkinson again, always with the late pit strategies here.
We've had a big accident.
Did lose that position in Lombardo, and we're gonna have a big accident here.
We've got a big accident. This is Dick Zipperburn with Matt Moon. Once again, they've been at it for the last 30 minutes. Moon probably losing a bit of patience. Tries to make a move down the inside, going into Lodge Corner. And ran out of room, I think. It's a tough one. It's a tough one, but
it's
not too much.
Big accident, but that's going to be significant for the race. I mean, Zipperburn Senior is going to lose that position, but Zipperburn Senior is also going to have to deal with that damage. I'm going to talk about Parkinson because we skipped over him.
Quick, what we got time?
his pit strategy usually comes at the end. He did miss it in Zandvoort, I do believe. Was it Zolder? Did we have Zandvoort or Zolder? I forgot. It's one of the Z maps. He needs to pit soon. Okay, so we have Zolder. He needs to pit earlier. I believe he needs. Yeah, I do believe he needs to pit earlier. Just because again he's losing all that tire. It's just gonna mess with him. He did go off again, and he's gone off multiple times this race. I don't know what his strategy is now.
I mean, I love the stubbornness of it, right? I love it. It's like, look, it hasn't worked for me 3 times this season, right? I'm gonna make it work on the tour.
It's gonna work now.
It's gonna work. It's gonna work. And this is Mark Allen close on Andrew Dumbunglio. Andrew Dumbunglio technically still ahead, although he hasn't made the pit. This is going to frustrate Mark Allen to high heaven because Mark is in 5th and he just wants to get the worn tyres of Andrew Dumbunglio out the way because they are not far off of Lombardo. So if Mark's got a little bit of pace in that Ferrari, he wants to use it. He wants to be set 3, especially looking at the front of Andrew's car there. Looks like it's had better days. As they come through. Let's go ahead and take a look a bit further down the pack as we have Thomas Kiss out of Europe. He's one of our European drivers up behind Daniel Beckstead going through Shell Oil Pin. That's another close battle going on there, but we do have again a close race now. Mark Cook looking to try and make a move as they go through the Island Bend. Can he keep it clean, especially setting himself up? Keep it clean, Mark! Oh, thank goodness. Does as somebody else goes off ahead of him. I'm not sure who that was. It looks like it's a lapped car. Is it just
whoa, that's gonna be off tracks. That's mine. Oh, he's trying to re-enter.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough.
And the brake marker's gone. He's gonna go off tracks into the runoff. But my goodness,
that is a thing. Unfortunately, if those brake markers go, it depends on who's been practicing the best, who can remember where that braking point is, who has other braking points to use. At the moment, it seems to have unaffected Tristan Zamora, who has opened up a 21-second gap on P2. This is the Zamora Show, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by SRA. At the moment, as Dumbunglio has finally been overtaken there by Mark Allen, but not given up by the looks of it. Making himself big in the mirrors as they go through now into Cascades. Take it away, Alexa.
I mean, this is one of the things, though, that you got to think about here for Parkinson.
That's a yellow flag. There was 2 yellow flags. What is happening? Oh, it's going to be Sebastian Rock in the NSX, is it? Or is it going to be Mai again?
Looks like it.
Oh,
it
that's-
looks like it because
Oh!
that's just completely on
Yeah,
its own. He
that's-
touches the
yeah,
grass,
that's-
off you go, bing bang bosh. The British have gained another entry to the empire.
Unfortunately, I have
As
to
right
say
now
that
you
is
do
not the end of it.
continue going.
That is not the end of it.
As unfortunately, that's not the end of it. Oh,
There's more replays
Whoa,
after
that's
this.
contact right there.
Yeah.
Into turn 1. Let's see what's gonna happen. That's just hard
That
racing.
right there.
No,
Whoa.
that's not just hard racing. That is contact right there, and Mike Cook is
That's
gonna take
not hard
himself out of this
racing,
race.
that's contact.
Yeah, that is
That was an illegal
rage
move.
field
That
contact.
was an illegal. That
Maybe
was an
not.
illegal move out of the elite though, as right now I'm going to continue to watch the rest of the grid, having a lot of replays this evening, and missing all the side-by-side
making contact
action.
with Charlotte.
As, a little bit of contact there, not too much though. Back to what I was saying before the replays interrupted me. I don't think we got a single lap without a replay this evening.
Look, you know, when the action's there,
Trey
the
Morgan
action's
currently sat number 6. As looking at the tyres right now, Parkinson and Dungabell, and I'm just gonna say Dung.
I got you, Dung
have yet
Bonglio.
to pit, and Dung Bonglio, yeah, as they're yet to pit, and the higher degradation here at Oulton Park, with the natural elevation of the circuit, with all the braking, with all the acceleration, the tyre degradation is just so high here, so you do not want to be going past that 20-minute mark, because 40 minutes on those tyres around this circuit, unless you're doing some proper tyre saving measures, like Esteban Ocon back in Turkey 2020 in Formula 1, that you're just not, well, even then he was on into slicks, and it's just not going to work out. You need to pit, you need to get those in as much as possible, as the sun does now begin to go down at Oulton Park.
That's going to be contact between Muncie, and it looks like Zipper and Senior. Their battle is not over.
It's just
Sorry about that. Into Oil's catch, that's going to be slight contact. It's Zipper and Senior fighting for that 11th position spot. Then now Muncie really close behind him. Zipper and Senior having a pretty good race so far, starting from the top, obviously losing a couple positions, but he hasn't really fallen back that far from the order, only losing about 6 positions, which is fine because he's a silver driver, and he's still ahead of Greer. But can they stay consistent? Can the rest of this grid stay consistent? I think that's going to be the question for everyone here. Oulton Park, obviously, like Alexa said, the tire degradation is going to be high because of the elevation changes. We have 2 people that are not taking their pit lanes, and again, what Alexa said, their tire degradation is going to be really bad right now because, again, I'm just repeating myself at this point, but yeah, that's very
correction. One of them's coming to the pit lane now, so it's just Parkinson who's now yet to pit, as it's going to be as Tim Parkinson, the owner driver, still out on that circuit. He has a Ferrari currently chasing him down from behind. I believe that maybe that is going to be blue flags most likely, as I'm doing so many special.
Oh, that's going to be Kiss off the track. That's straight into the wall. That's who else is off tracks over there.
So with 18 minutes, 45 seconds remaining here in Oulton Park, it all comes down to this. It is D6. It is the penultimate round of season number 13. It is unlucky for some and unlucky for quite a lot of people this night. It does seem as Zipper going to be going down into Island Bend. We may see where this ends up. It's happened so many times this evening, or maybe not. Down into Oil Shell Hairpin. He's going to go down for that inside move, and he will keep that defensive line. That's going to have to send the McLaren behind him onto the higher line. Right now, though, going to continue going on as Anthony Lombardo is going to be continuing to chase down Lewis. The 256 chasing down the 211. McLaren versus McLaren, or in other words, Maka versus Maka. Going to be continuing with 18 minutes on the clock. The pit window closes in 16 minutes, so just over that 1 minute mark. As Parkinson still yet to pit. Steams actually. Yes, Stearns or Steams. It's hard to tell when I'm just watching on a laptop.
Got you, Stearns.
Apparently apparently got the same name as the rear end
Oh my
of the
goodness,
ship.
Mac Morgan's gonna go off too into the wall. He's gonna try and get back on track.
Right now, gonna have to interject here. That was momentarily as Queasy changes it to the replay. So we will watch what Morgan is doing as through the chicane we go. And continuing to go through the right-hander, loses the rear end momentarily. Round you go. We've seen it so many times here this evening. Let's go back to the let's go back to the racing action, shall we? As it seems like it has now calmed down a bit while we were looking away. Parkinson still sits P number 7, yet to make his pit stop. Going to be going on to Julian Al. Going to be going down into the words. Going to be going down into the braking zone of the second chicane. Throw it right, throw it left, throw it right, and then throw it back like it's a Saturday night. But then again, we're racing here on. But then again, we are racing here on a Wednesday evening for the Americans. Thursday morning or Thursday day or Thursday evening, wherever you may be watching or playing. As through the left-hander of Island Bend one more time. Freeway battle seeming to develop there between these guys a little bit behind as Stern's going to be continuing on in his trusty Aston Martin. The headlights are on now at Oulton Park as we head through turn number 1, and then Michael Santos going to be continuing on right here with in the 203 P number 16 momentarily. Going to be 10 seconds behind the driver in front, which is going to be Beeson, as he's going to have another driver going to be continuing on right behind him. Santos just trying to keep that car on the circuit as Zipper going to be doing what they need to. But it's an interesting one as we go 16 minutes remaining.
Wow. Okay, that was a lot of information. But yeah, we're gonna see the final 15 minutes of this race. There should be a lot of pushing right now because everyone's pitted. They're gonna have good tire wear right now. Can we talk? Sorry, we have a lot of position changes here, but some significant people to note. F-Gen Parkinson 16 gain for Parkinson. F-Gen 14 position gain. T Morgan with an 11 position gain for this race currently.
Yeah, speaking of Jen, we just saw them getting overtaken by Al momentarily. As right now, Justin Montine, we have Santos once again, who's gone around, and that is going to be on the exit of turn number 1. Car going off just after Cascades as well.
Car 999 off too.
Zipper.
That was going to be Brian Acomb, yeah.
As we do continue on, going down into the hairpin one more time. Aston Martin looking for the move around the outside as we go over to Moon there momentarily. One more time, we've got the Aston Martin going to be continuing on behind. That's going to be Stearns. As right now, Zamora is going to have a lap traffic to get through. In the cockpit, you can probably hear blue flags. As right now into the second chicane we will go. Shane Lewis is going to be a lot farther behind. He sits down in P number 2 currently, all the way down Oil Shell's hairpin. Shell Oil's hairpin, I should say, and then down throughout the rest of this circuit. Going to be going over the bump as much as possible, maybe taking a little bit too much of that chicane. That's going to undulate the cam. That's going to cost you quite a bit of time. Heading down for Lewis right now, though, as Parkinson is going to have a finale of Puzzito is going to be continue to chase him down. As right now, Mark Morgan also going to be trying to defend his place as we head out that second chicane. As that is going to be Alicia, who's going to be round on the exit. That's going to be very, very unfortunate. As right now, Justin also going to be trying to continue on and defend his position. He's got the AMR of Stearns right behind him. You can see him in the rear view mirror. Those lights may be flashing if he gets a bit too much of it. Parkinson, the only driver still yet to pit in this race with 13 minutes 45 seconds remaining. Down into the first chicane, down into the second is where you're going to look for it one more time. As Justin Montine also still trying to chase down. It seems like the action has calmed down a little bit as everybody seems to start to settle into their places. One thing to point out, how many places is Parkinson going to lose when he does eventually make that call into the pit box? Currently sits P number 8 overall, P number 2 in this silver category. The race with 30 minutes 20 seconds remaining is led by Zamora, followed by Lewis, then Lombardio to round out the podium. Then Allen, Morgan, Jed, Puzzuto, Parkinson, Moon, and then Zipper rounds out the top 10.
We'll say, I would need to know if Queasy's mic is actually muted, because I haven't heard him talk in a minute.
I think he's just letting us do our thing as we continue on throughout this race. As Julian
that's fair, and that's going to be too wide, yeah.
For these moments. Yeah, they are going to go too wide here, and it is going to get a little bit hairy down into Island Bend. As right now we switch over to Lewis, as into the hairpin we will go, as it is going to be Parker who will have Al right behind him in the Porsche versus Mustang. Germany versus America, pure manufacturing engineering, as Parkinson finally makes his move into the pit lane. His team have probably been on the radio. Get into the pit lane now. Your tyres are going to blow. We don't want a Lightning McQueen moment from the Cars 1 movie. Parker still trying to make his way, still trying to make a move in his trusty Aston, in his trusty Mustang. However, that is going to be the Porsche who will get the advantage. That is a yellow flag for the 179 on the exit through the right-hander, and that is going to be very, very unfortunate. You can see a slight bit of front-end damage for that Aston Martin as we go over to Alicia one more time.
It's just going to go wide, yeah.
That was evasive action. That was evasive action she had to take there, because I think a car rejoined unsafely, and then that's what caused her to go off, or somebody was going really slow, and so the evasive action had to be taken, causing that off. As right now, Max Stearns still trying to chase down, as it looks like we've got another moment here for a Ferrari, as way too much throttle input. The 817 goes off and onto the grass. Helicopter cam getting an absolutely lovely view of the rear end of that Ferrari, and then onto trying to rejoin the circuit nice and clean. This may be where Alicia went off, but unfortunately it will not be. But now that Santos now into the pits again one more time. Now that Parkinson has pitted, he's down in P number 17. That's 10 positions lost.
Yeah, and if you look at our drivers standing, Julian Al and I believe Greer, 18th, 19th position. So Julian Al made his way up the field. Now he's back in 19th. This is going to be big for the Drivers' Championship and for Golden Division. But also, Greer, 18th position. Well, that's going to be 9 positions right behind Zipperbrand Sr. That's going to be a big point differential.
Yeah, he's just controlling the cameras right now.
Squeezy is back.
Interject.
I'm just going to interject. Antti Lombardo has made the move on Shane Lewis, which puts him up into 2nd place. So going on from what you were saying there, Marlon, this has all fallen to Anthony Lombardo. You got Matt Moon down in 8th and Julian Au down in the bleachers, as our American colleagues would say. I mean, this has fallen. This race has been exactly what Lombardo needed, maybe what Lombardo wanted. Who's to say? But this has all fallen kindly to Lombardo at the moment.
And I don't want to curse him.
Yeah,
I don't want to try and curse him, but look at Zamora is having a decisive lead on Anthony Lombardo. It looks like he's going to be taking this win again today.
Yeah, as Queasy is here, so I want to ask this, because I saw that momentarily. The leader and Al have both have that purple sector. Both have that little purple tag under the numbers. Have they got the exact same lap time? They do, because I was like, that's really weird. Unless they have exactly the same. So
it is
that's
telling
an interesting one. Oh, that's not interesting for Daniel Beckstead, though, as he's off.
I think Daniel was just absolutely shocked by that fact, and as a result, has just thrown him off the track. Listening to it in the YouTube on the background, I can only say that could be the only explanation. As we go back and join Max Stern, still trying to get behind and get in front, of Dick Zipperburn Sr., who has just been valiantly defending, just like Mr. Cube Master pointed out in the chat. He's been pushed around all day, a few battles, a few bruises. Looks like he repaired the damage, though, from what I can see, when he did the pit stop, and that would correspond to a slightly longer lap time. But he's still holding on to a really good position. He doesn't want to let this slide as Max Stearns goes wide, hits the apex there, manages to come back on and hold it all together. As you see right behind him, Montine sniffing for any of an opportunity that he can get.
That's also going to give Zipperbrand Sr. a little more breathing room.
It is.
We also did find out what happened to Corey Colt, and it looks like he is taking his bye week this week. So good for him. It's been a hectic race so far.
Yeah, Corey Colt saying he doesn't mind that he had to miss this race because of the race ban. You know, you're probably onto something here. But it would have been fun, Corey. We would have seen a last to finish push again. That we've come so accustomed to. But never mind.
Never mind. As we're talking about Stearns and Zipperburn Sr., he has caught up. He is now 4/10 behind. He was 2/10 earlier, but now he did not get a good exit off that corner. Zipperburn Sr., though, getting that breathing room again. It's that he did manage to fix that damage in the pit stop he took, which is good for him because, again, McLaren and Ferrari, as we talked about, do suffer a lot from damage, especially understeer and oversteer. Can Zipperburn Sr. hold this position? He did gain back into past the top 10. He's now in P9. He's not going to get a good exit out of this corner, but Stearns isn't either. Stearns cannot catch up to him. We also do have Riley Greer and Julian Al fighting for that 18th spot. 1/10 behind. Entering... What is that? That is turn 3. They're almost going to make contact, but it looks like Riley Greer is going to stick it, and he's going to take the position away from Julian Al.
Well, that was Brian Acon, but I agree with what you're
that's
saying.
contact. Beeson, Michael Cook off.
Let's go and take a look, see what happened to my man Mike Cook. Been given a raw deal. Remind me next week. I'm not even going to mention the name.
It looks like they're going too wide into this corner, and there's going to be massive contact there.
Unfortunately, that's got to be on Beeson. I think Beeson getting knocked by the chicane and ultimately bouncing himself across there and making contact with Mike Cook. Not that I'm biased or anything, but it's. I think that's how the stewards will see it if it gets reported at all.
But that's also going to give Duong Bong Leo a time to catch up, and Beeson is just going to let him through. Duong Bong Leo now up into P12, entering corner 1 with a lot more breathing room than normal and up a position.
Here we go on board to see what happens.
Oh, and Zipperburn Sr.'s off!
Senior is off, and let's go and find out what exactly happened with Max Stearns. Right up the inside of go through the island, takes it too wide, hits onto the grass, and Nick Zipperburn Sr. has been cursed, ladies and gentlemen. It has happened for the 7th week in a row, I feel. Our man, crowd favourite Zipperburn Sr., getting nipped in the dying embers of this race.
I mean, it all depends, and it comes down to this. 5 minutes. As 5 minutes remain on the clock, well, 4 minutes 52 now. But as we do continue going on in the last 5 minutes of this race, it's absolute domination from the leader. It does seem, unless something different happens here in these final moments, as MDC seems to have been in the pit lane the entire race, as they have just sat where they are, P number 27, and it's going to be unfortunate for them.
I was going to talk about
right
that.
now,
Mark
it's
DC,
going to be Lombardo.
We did see Mark DC in the pit lane in the beginning of the race, but we didn't see him come out. So that's going to be... So he's just sticking out in the pit lane for the rest of the race, which unfortunate, but like Corey Colt did.
His current pit lane time is 1,220 seconds, so safe to say if he comes out now, he'll be firmly behind the rest of the grid.
Yeah, that'll be a new record, longest pit lane in SRA history. Oh, that's going to be... Julian Al with a drive-through in the last 3 minutes, and he's going to go off.
He's calling it a quits, I think, for tonight, Julian. It's not gone his way. The thing is, Julian, if you keep going, those are still points. Oh, he's returned to the pits. Julian, no. And Julian has left the chat, I believe. I'm not sure, but...
Yeah, Julian Al is gone. Julian retiring from this session. But that's just going to be massive for Anthony Lombardo then. But also Matt Moon is also going to be taking... Yeah, Matt Moon taking that position back from Julian Al. But also Lombardo... Someone we didn't think about last week coming in as a dark horse and taking that top divisional spot.
Well, that's it. I mean, this is D6, right? Anything goes. And again, we go into next week.
And Brian Acomb is going to go off once again. Yeah. Riley Greer taking that position back. Man, we had more incidents here than Mount Panorama.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, this hasn't been a showcase race in terms of racecraft for D6, but it's certainly been a busy one on the replays. Testament to the replay program, keeping up with it all. It looks like as we go into the dying minutes of this race now, 2 minutes 30 left on the clock. We've Tristan Zamora, Matt Moon Oh, I saw yellow flags come up for Matt Moon, but I think he's just taking a nice, careful approach. But let's go back and take a look and see what happened, just for the sake of it. We know that he survived. That's the important thing. Coming into Island Bend, what happens here? Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, it is Island Bend.
Yeah, it is Ireland, and it looks like nothing.
He's fine. He's absolutely fine.
He's fine.
I don't know what was
He's
tripping.
fine.
This is insert the fire meme. As right now, 2 minutes remaining on the clock. As I think it's safe to say we are now on the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix, unless something else happens. There is 20 seconds for the leader to get to the start-finish line and go even quicker to take it onto an extra lap added, but it looks like this will be the penultimate lap for the leader. As
And
of
it looks
course,
like Parkinson is just going to let Riley Greer and
leading
Morgan
the
over. Yeah, that was interesting.
as it sits. Well, to be fair, we are approaching the end, so you may just want to hold your horses and stay where you are. As right now, it is going to be the leader who is on an absolute roll. As hopefully we will get a visual on him again, as Parkinson just loses the time there. 2 people go past, losing all of it just before Island Bend. But right now, the leader comes onto a brand new lap. This will be the penultimate without a doubt. Through Cascades, then down to Island Bend. It's been an absolute showing. The 919 passes into Island Bend, and it's the Shell Oils hairpin. Then, of course, you go throughout the rest of the circuit. As long as he does not spin this, he has a plentiful gap to Pumbardo. It's the 919 with the Aston Martin in his rear-view mirror down into Britain's and over the crest of hill, and then over the crest of hilltops, your flat-out section, which leads into your braking zone for Hislops. And then we go throughout the rest of this circuit. Sector number 3, the fastest of the track, as Moon is going to be right there with him. But we know how this goes. 14, 13, 12, 10. It is going to be the checkered flag. And can they keep it clean? 36 laps completed so far. The end of this will bring it to a 37th. He only has 2 more corners to go. That being penultimate and Diaz Leap, which is more of a king, down into Lodge Corner, passing that small grandstand, into Diaz Leap. He flashes the headlights and he comes to the line. It is Tristan Zamora who will win the Oulton Park GP in round number 7 of season 13.
Now on board with Lombardo, who looks like he's going to be taking that second position. We're also going to see Shane Lewis and Mark Allen follow suit. Michael Stearns ending the race. Jay Muntean ending the race. Brian Acombe, Charland, and Rock. All ending the race. But here we go. P2, Lombardo taking another pole position taking another P2 position from last week too. Shane Lewis following suit, followed by Mark Allen, T. Morgan, and Jen also going to be following suit.
Now, what a race by Tristan Zamora. I mean, fantastic. Oh, is a last minute contact
in lead position. It looks like Mark Allen is going to take, okay, Mark Allen's going to secure P4. Jen is going to secure P5 now. Or was that, am I wrong?
Yeah, no, so Mark Allen takes 4th, Trey Morgan takes 5th, and Finn
Morgan
Jen
takes 5th, and Finn Jen takes 6th. Zudo following suite, and then there's going to be Matt, who is going to be not entirely happy about that race, but it's going to be better than how Panorama went for him last week.
I mean, Matt Moon's finishing 8th. We've got to say, fantastic drive by Zamora, but also equally Anthony Lombardo, who I think we'll have to wait for the positions to come out, but I think that would be enough to make Anthony Lombardo at least in a very close mix. Obviously, we saw Julian Al call it quits later in the day there. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is our D6 race. So let's go ahead and take it over. And guys, how do we process that? Talk us through it. What have we just watched? Apart from the carnage and the replay fiasco, what have we just witnessed?
My mind is fried.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a fair description of events. I mean, like you said, a bit messier than Mount Panorama, and Oulton Park is a very, very difficult track to get your head around. Alexa, first time commentating D6, at least in a while. How do you think it all went? What's your views?
How I expected it, very much how I expected it to go. Nice side-by-side action. A lot of collisions, resulting in a lot of replays. Very different style to the tempo, but still, you had those good battles going around the circuit, and really did not disappoint. Of course, very different viewing experience for me. Probably a very different, probably not so much for the viewers as they watch it rather than me. I'm used to D1, not D6, but it is very nice and it is very good of a race overall. And Oulton Park, never disappointing. I am definitely not glazing the circuit right now because it's my home circuit, but heck, here we are, Oulton Park, best racing circuit in the world.
Absolutely. I mean, it certainly brings the action. What we're going to do is we're just going to wait to see and watch the debrief channel populate so that we can drag a few in there. So just a reminder, it was Zamora P1, Lombardo P2, and then bringing it home was Shane Lewis in P3. So hopefully they have a breather and then they go and join themselves into the chat so we can then yoink them very quickly back out of it. But I think everyone's just having a bit of a breather at the moment.
I see Lombardo.
You certainly do. Let's go ahead and find the man, the myth, the legend. Let me find him. In fact, we've got Zamora first, so let's go ahead. And Alexa, I will pass it over to you as we bring. Let me work it all out. There we go, Tristan Zamora. Let's bring him in and have a chat.
Tristan Zamora. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Welcome to the commentary box, good sir. That was a very interesting race for you. Talk us through it.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Quite a lovely race, wasn't it?
Nice at the front there,
right? Yeah, talk us through it. What was it like from your point of view? Because it looked like you had a very clean race.
Oh, 100%. After a very unfortunate Bathurst, I, did a little soul searching, realized, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? So we worked on a little consistency here and there. That track, I mean, what do I say about Oulton Park? But we made it through, no incidents, clean races. I don't know if I had any invalidated laps, but yeah, smooth sailing, just a lovely experience. Lovely drive.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just getting to grips with the fact that I think Anthony Lombardo has found himself into the wrong debrief.
Say about Oulton Park? What?
What was that?
Alexa.
Hello.
Have we lost Alexa again? I think we have. So you had a pretty uneventful, I would say, start there. How was
Lombardo just did the wrong debrief apparently. But no. Mike, is my mic working?
Not really.
Yeah.
Tristan, what's your outlook going into Valencia? What's it looking like for you? How do you feel?
Valencia, gonna be honest, Mr. J, I've never driven it, so look forward to learning it over the course of the week.
So other people have a chance, is what you're telling me. There is a chance.
There is a chance. It is at night as well, so that's gonna, I'm sure, spice things up.
And how do you look going into practice for your races? Do you do a lot of practice beforehand? So you just sort of swing in and announce yourself? What's your method for practicing the track?
I like to take a little bit, probably just research it a little bit, just get a feel for the track, do a little bit of slow laps, find my line, and then work's a little tough right now, but whenever I can, get a few laps in, wouldn't hurt.
It's certainly helping you out. Look, I'll let you get back so you can truly witness the eventful race that was D6, and we don't want to hold you up any longer, but whilst we've still got you, do you have any shout outs? Do you have any people you want to mention, on the back of your
100%.
victory?
100%. Shout out to my teammate Colin. He couldn't make it out today. I'm sure he would have had a good race alongside me and repping the Audis. Shout out to my fellas in the Weeb Den. They know who they are. Shout out to Caleb and all the boys back there in the pub sub group. They know who they are. And yeah, look forward to next week, you guys. Hopefully, I'll see you guys again.
That's
We'll
awesome.
say that is the first Audi victory I have seen in SRA. So congratulations.
Appreciate it. Repping the boys, the Audi boys. They slept on.
Good on you, Tristan. Good luck this week, and hopefully we'll speak to you again next week.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
All right, and that is Tristan Zamora. So let's go ahead and we're going to rescue Anthony from the D1 chat. Oh no, he's fixed the mistake. So let me scroll down even further.
He's gonna be really confused now.
Yeah, yeah.
He just saved himself, and now he's gonna get pulled back.
Now I'm trying to find him again. He's trying to hide. Where are you, Mr. Lombardo? Where is he gone? He's gone out completely. All right. Well, looks like we might not get to interview Anthony Lombardo, which is a bit of a shame, but nevertheless, we will move on to another one of our qualifiers, one of our podium finishers, and that is Mr. Shane Lewis. So, what I'll do, Marlon, I'll bring him in, and he's all yours.
Shane Lewis, welcome to the commentator's booth, and he's gone.
And he's gone. Didn't want to be part of it.
Feel like this has happened before.
It must be me. It must be. They see when it's Cube on there, and they just wanna talk to Cube, you know. And I don't blame them at all.
No, I'm sure you're a great interviewer.
Let's go down and have a look. So Shane Lewis wasn't looking for a chat. Sometimes happens. It was a bit of a tough race. Ultimately, still finished on the podium. Picked up some really good points, so you can't be disappointed with that. Let's keep looking through. Has Anthony Lombardo come back yet? No, he hasn't. Okay, in which case, oh, Shane Lewis has come back, but I won't drag him in again. You know what? I think that's it. I think let's leave the drivers to prepare for what is Valencia. Now, Valencia, it's our nighttime race for this season, so adds a little bit of extra spice. And it's one of my favorite tracks. I haven't done a lot of it, but it is definitely one of my favorite tracks on the circuit. Have you seen much of it, Marlon? Have you had a chance to play around with it much?
I've definitely raced on Valencia before and never really touched it like much after that one race. Man, I never realized how much of a curveball they put at the end of the season. We got Mount Panorama, and then we had the Nürburgring wet right before that, and then right after Oulton Park, we see what the carnage happens here. And then now we have a night race in Valencia. Valencia is going to be a wider track, yes, but again, nighttime races just are much different than regular races because you can't see your brake markers properly unless you have your lights working. And when your lights do go off, because if you might be going off track and hitting a wall, then that becomes a major issue because not only are you getting that meatball flag, but you can't see anything.
No, exactly. And, Valencia is a very technical track, so you're going to need to see where you are on the grid. But what it does mean is we have a corker, an absolute corker of a final showdown in the gold division. We've got Anthony Lombardo well and truly in the mix there. We've still got Julian Owl in the mix, and of course we have the crowd favorite, the commentary favorite, Matt Moon, who is still 8th place in this race, still keeps him in there, and doesn't lose any positions there to Julian Owl, so overtakes Julian Owl, and it will be a pure Al Moon Lombardo shoot-off for whoever gets to do that shoey at the end of the race. Here we go, Anthony Lombardo. Let's see if we can drag him in. He was having technical difficulties with his Discord. Let's be honest, who doesn't? So let's, without further ado, drag him in and have a chit-chat before we get off. He's worked it out,
Anthony Lombardo, welcome back to the commentator's booth 2 weeks in a row. How are you feeling?
Let's go.
It's the most subdued let's go.
Man, I'm still kind of like, I feel like I'm still on one.
That's awesome.
Definitely. That race was an absolute show. I won't say the first word, but got some questions for you. So how are you feeling about your performance, and do you feel like you could have squeezed a little more?
I'm actually satisfied with it. I'll be honest with you. I didn't get much practice. The family and I just got in from out of town probably a few hours ago, about 5 hours ago. So we put in a few laps before I left, and I put in probably about 45 minutes this evening before the race, just kind of getting familiar. It's not one of my best tracks. It's so bumpy, so it's not really a go-to for me if I'm just kind of hanging around. So when I hit the 135s in practice, I was actually pretty stoked. I think my previous best just on ACC was like 135.6. So as long as I could beat that, I was, pretty satisfied with it. And it just the luck kind of turned in my favor, I guess. So
That's definitely great. I wouldn't call that luck. You definitely had a really great race. That follows into my next question, which is, what were your thoughts and how did you keep yourself staying consistent to get this podium spot?
it was really, for me, it was just about the tires. Brad and I had that conversation. Like, the track is real rough on the tire, especially the rear. So as long as we could just like keep it on the track, then it'd be, I feel like we could be fine. It, I don't know. I just, my adrenaline's still pumping. So I'm like,
Definitely.
man, it was just one of those things. Like one of those races where you're underprepared, but it still kind of turned out.
Yeah, I definitely still have adrenaline from watching that race. I didn't even drive in that race. So before I let you go, do you have any shout outs to anyone?
Always shouting out the SRA group, the other drivers. They, did phenomenal. I didn't really get to see a lot of the things, I guess you could say, that transpired throughout the race. But big shout out to Brad, of course, my teammate. And I mean, that's about it. And you guys, of course, taking us home.
We appreciate it. And going into Valencia, the last race of the season, we were just discussing in that small little interlude while you were finding your way into the T5, T6 race chat. We were just discussing. So we think we don't have it in front of us. And obviously there's a lot of stewards have to say their opinions as well. But it looks as though it's going to potentially be you with a slim lead over Matt Moon. And Matt Moon closely followed by Julian Al. So how are you feeling going into Valencia? How are you feeling about the championship title? And, how is your preparation going for Valencia? Have you started already or have you been full focusing on Oulton Park?
We really just take it 1 week at a time. Not promised tomorrow, one of those things, So Valencia is definitely not a strong track. Valencia at night is just that, a nightmare. So we're gonna put in some laps. Got a lot of work to do this over the next few days, so we'll put some laps down range and then see what we can pull out of it. For me, I never expected to even be at this position in the overall rankings. So however the chips fall at the end of the season, I'm satisfied with it. I know Matt Moon he's a very strong driver, so
that's very humble of you. Too humble. I want some beef, but no, that's fine. That's good on you. Good on you.
Yeah, well, watch your
we are not
back.
drive to survive.
Yeah, we need the background. We need the backstories. But look, Anthony, awesome as always. I hope that we talk to you next week. Who knows what the situation's going to be? But look, focus, have a drink, have a rest. You've got 1 week, which will go very quickly, and we will talk to you next week. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, man. Take care. There we go. I sent him back to the right chat as well, just to make sure.
That wouldn't be such a bad idea. Making some rivalries. Yeah. I'm going to start a rivalry right now. Matt Moon and
it's got to be Matt Moon,
Lombardo. Right?
Yeah, it's got to be, mate. It's big rivalry. Big beef. Big words being said in the cool down room after the race, but. No, so look, guys, thank you so much for joining us again for what has been another D6 showcase, D6 extravaganza. We are, as we've already said, on to Valencia next week for the final race, the final showdown. It might all be wrapped up in the silver division, but it is by no means wrapped up in the gold division with a 3 horse race. So join us next week. That is on Wednesday the 19th at 9 p.m. as always, Eastern US time, or 2 a.m. if you're in the UK or wherever you might be in the world. Thank you once again to Marlon for sticking it with me, sticking it through and getting us all the way over the finishing line there. And thank you to our unfortunately departed early guest, Alexa. Hopefully we can deal with some of those internet issues, but I'm sure you see Alexa back in D1 next week, where we're all facing off. And again, another tight battle in the gold and the silver divisions, and the team championship awaits D1 as well. So from me, Jay Queasy, from Marlon, and from Alexa, thank you so much, and we will catch up with you again next week. Have a good week.